It is folly to abstain all day long from food, but fail to abstain from sin and selfishness. So if you do selfish things, you're forgoing the first part. It's just not even gonna worry about. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Saint John Christ Chrysostom that had this quote, and I mean he's a hierarch of the church. He's a church father that's a hierarch, and that's one that's definitely well respected. He is one of the big ones. Um, and honestly, I was trying to find some quotes from him, and it took me a minute to just, I kind of went after Saint Basil the Great first, and I know he's a big one too. But Saint John Chrysostom just has so much material. I mean, he is just so important, and one of the early church fathers that had a very, very strong impact and still reverberates to this day on the direction and how the church, especially the Orthodox Church, has developed itself over the centuries. Um, but I mean, it is folly to abstain all day long from food, but fail to abstain from sin and selfishness. So if you're always doing things for yourself and not for others or for the good of your soul, then what's even the point of the first part? I mean, what's even the point of fasting or trying to be more mindful of what you're doing and more prayerful towards God, towards yourself, towards others, and being in that in that sense of your own uh your own hypostasis, and then actually seeing things more more in a sense of religious piety when you fail to abstain from the sin and the selfishness, because it will wind up going nowhere, and it won't drive you to be better, to better yourself through Christ and through through the church. And it's just one of those things where, I mean, fasting's hard. It's not an easy gig. So it definitely challenges the sin and the selfishness. Sin and the selfishness. It challenges the things that you are mindful of, like abstaining from the food. You are mindful of those material things that you have to fast over and pray over, but failing to do so will will only cause you grief, aggravation, and in the long run, you're not doing any. And like the old saying goes, you're not doing it to anybody but yourself. So the sin and the selfishness will always be there. It'll always be there. It's not going anywhere. Believe me. And for that to for you to become your biggest opponent because of that, well, that'll always be the case. Um, and either you abstain and gain a better process through that theosis, or you fail, but you don't fail in the sense of nobody's there for you, nobody's there to catch you, nobody's there to pick you back up again, because that would just be that's foolish. That's selfish on somebody else's part then too. If they're not going to help you, then what's the point of even seeing their own selfishness? And that's the other part. Like, you can judge others and love your neighbors, but it's harder to forgive and love than it is to just outright judge. So that selfishness and that sin will wash away more easily, and you'll be better for it, and you won't fail as hard or fail as much, due to the fact that sin and the selfishness is being replaced with better things. And then that fasting will be all the more so will be all the more so rewarding, achievable, and make you way more humble. So that for that I mean, it's one of those things where it's it's dynamic, it's cyclical, and it'll help for sure.